What would you do if the only home you ever truly loved was about to be torn down by the people you trusted most? I was 24 when I faced that question, standing in the dusty living room of Grandma's old house, the air thick with the scent of aged wood and memories. The house wasn't just a structure. It was a time capsule of my childhood, where every creak of the floorboards whispered stories of laughter, secrets, and love. My family, however, saw it differently: a crumbling relic, a financial burden, a plot of land worth more than the memories it held. They wanted it gone. All of them. Except me. The house sat on the edge of our small town, its sagging porch and ivy-choked walls a stark contrast to the sleek new developments creeping closer each year. Grandma had lived there until her death 2 years prior, and in her will, she left the property to the family with a peculiar clause. Any decision about its fate required a unanimous vote. 7 votes mine, my parents, my 3 siblings, and my uncle. 6 of them wanted to sell the land to a developer who'd offer a fortune. I was the holdout, the one vote standing between Grandma's house and a bulldozer. My family's reasoning was cold, practical. Dad called it an eyesore and a money pit. Mom agreed, saying the sale would fund college tuitions and retirement plans. My siblings Mark, Lisa, and Jen saw dollar signs, dreaming of new cars and exotic vacations. Uncle Ted, Grandma's brother, was the loudest, insisting the house was worthless, its foundation cracked, its pipes rusted. It's what she would have wanted, he'd say, as if he'd ever understood Grandma's heart. I listened to their arguments at the family meeting, my stomach churning. They didn't see the house the way I did. They didn't remember. As a child, I spent every summer with Grandma. She'd bake oatmeal cookies, the kitchen warm with cinnamon, and we'd sit on the porch swing, her stories weaving magic into the twilight. She taught me to plant marigolds in the garden, to name the constellations, to believe in the kind of love that outlasts time. The house was her sanctuary, and mine too a refuge from my parents' arguments, from the chaos of growing up. When she died, it felt like the world lost its color, but the house kept her alive. Every room held her echo: the chipped teacup she loved, the quilt she sewed, the scratches on the dining table from years of family dinners. The vote was scheduled for a Saturday, and as the day approached, the pressure mounted. My family didn't just argue, they attacked. Mark called me selfish, saying I was holding back their future. Lisa accused me of living in the past, of clinging to a rotting house out of childish nostalgia. Jen, the youngest, just cried, torn between her dreams and my stubbornness. Mom pulled me aside, her voice soft but firm. "Ellie, think of the family. This money could change everything." Dad was less gentle, his face red as he shouted, "You're 1 against 6. Let it go." Even Uncle Ted cornered me, his breath sour with coffee, warning that I'd regret standing in their way. I wavered. Doubt crept in like damp rot. Was I being selfish? Was I clinging to a memory that only mattered to me? The night before the vote, I wandered through the house, my fingers tracing the walls. In Grandma's bedroom, I found her old journal tucked under a floorboard, its pages yellowed but intact. I hadn't known it existed. As I read, her words poured out stories of her own battles, her love for this house, her fear that the family would forget its worth. One entry hit me like a punch. "This house isn't just wood and nails. It's the heart of us. If they tear it down, they tear out our roots." I cried, clutching the journal, feeling her presence as if she were sitting beside me. The next morning, everything changed. As I arrived at the house for the vote, a stranger was waiting on the porch, an older woman with silver hair and sharp blue eyes, holding a faded photograph. Her name was Clara, and she claimed to be Grandma's childhood friend. She'd heard about the demolition plans through a neighbor and came to plead for the house. Your grandmother and I grew up here, she said, her voice trembling. We carve our initials in the attic. This place isn't just hers, it's a piece of this town's history. She showed me the photograph. Two girls, laughing under the same oak tree that still stood in the yard. I was stunned. No one in the family had mentioned Clara, yet her story felt like a missing piece of the puzzle. Clara's arrival shifted something in me. It wasn't just my memories at stake anymore. It was a legacy. At the meeting, my family sat around the dining table, tense and impatient. Uncle Ted read the motion to sell, and one by one, they raised their hands. Dad, Mom, Mark, Lisa, Jen. 6 hands, 6 votes. All eyes turned to me. I stood, my heart pounding, Grandma's journal in my bag, Clara's photograph in my hand. No, I said, my voice steady despite the knot in my throat. I vote to keep the house. The room erupted. Dad slammed his fist on the table. Lisa called me crazy. Uncle Ted threatened legal action. But I held firm, explaining what I'd found Grandma's journal, her words about the house's heart, Clara's story of its history. I told them about the summers the first spent here, the love woven into every corner. This house is more than money, I said. It's who we are. If we destroy it, we lose something we can't buy back. They didn't understand, not fully. But the vote was unanimous or nothing, and my no stopped them cold. The developer's deal fell through. The house stood, at least for now. Over the next weeks, I worked to change their minds. I invited Clara to share her stories with the family. I showed them Grandma's journal, let them read her words. Slowly, Jen came around, then Lisa. Mark admitted he'd forgotten how much the house meant to him as a kid. Mom and Dad were harder, but they softened when I proposed turning the house into a community spa-say place for art classes, history talks, a garden in Grandma's name. Uncle Ted grumbled, but eventually agreed, swayed by the family's shifting tide. Months later, the house was still standing, its porch freshly painted, marigolds blooming in the garden. It wasn't just Grandma's house anymore. It was ours, a bridge between past and future. Clara visited often, her stories filling the rooms with new life. I'd saved the house, but more than that, I'd reminded my family what it meant to have roots. Standing on the porch swing one evening, I felt Grandma's presence, her voice whispering in the creak of the wood. You did it, Ellie. You kept our heart. The fight wasn't easy, and the scars from those family arguments lingered. But I learned something that summer. One voice, one vote, can hold more power than you ever imagine. It's not about being the loudest or the strongest, it's about believing in what matters, even when you stand alone. Grandma's house taught me that, and in saving it, I found my own strength, the kind that doesn't just stop bulldozers but builds something lasting in their place.